imagine stuff when I was like 7 years old and make my own fun. If I had some video games, but it was old video games. They were lame. So what would you do for your imagination games?
We do a lot of like cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians. When the Fellowship of the Ring came out, I think I was like 10 or 11. And so still young enough to like be fiddle fucking around outdoors and everything, but old enough to have a little bit of like building to that. And so we would do stuff like build a fortress and then have the orcs attack. And we would like build our own bows and arrows and stuff and shoot them at each other. And kids got hurt all the goddamn time. But it was like an understood thing with the neighborhood kids. Like if you get hurt playing Assault on fucking Hobbiton or whatever it was if you want to play Mines of Moria with the cool kids and you want to be a goblin who's storming in to that burial chamber, and you have the biggest kid gets to be the cave troll.
I was about to say, was there a fat kid? Then the fat kid shows up. They have a cave troll.
See, I played the cave troll when I was on the assaulting side. The cave troll did not get a ranged weapon. That would be unfair. I got a large stick. And if I hit you hard enough with that stick to bring you to your knees, you were dead. But if I barely clipped you and you got away, you were not dead.
That sounds amazing. See,
it was so much fun, dude. My
games were all imagination. When I was 5, I would put all my toys on the floor, and there would be imaginary battles. Right? I'd separate them between fantasy and reality. So on the right would be the fantasy characters. He-Man and Skeletor would join forces. All right, there'd be a ton of stuff like that, and on the left, I had my army men with their army tank, and they'd have to face off against this barrage of Ninja Turtles and Star Wars characters and shit like that. And I would just sort of like make believe and make them fight. And that one died. Obviously, no one beats He-Man, and go about it that way. And then by the time I was like 7, I would take all of my electronics and put them on the bed like a command center around me, like video game controllers, like anything that was electronic and had buttons. And I would play space, right? I was like Bubbles. Fucking pretend going to space and operating my command mod. Yeah, all by myself. I didn't have anybody. Yeah.
I pictured 12-year-old Taylor looking a little like he does now with the full beard and jacked as fuck, straight edge razor, and Lord Farquaad voice. Some of you may die. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. And she goes out there with this giant club and fucks up all the people who hit puberty at a normal time.
But it was
like
fun.
The guy from, he's like the guy from Gangs of New York who had the club that was his weapon of choice, and it had the notches carved on it from every man he killed.
It looked serrated at that point. Like, is how many notches. Like, we played another game in my backyard, like where when we'd carpool, and there'd be a couple kids who'd always come back, and then of course, like you'd always hope, like, man, I hope my mom and her mom and his mom talk a lot so we can play outside and stuff until they go home, and that would always happen. And so then you get the neighborhood kids to come over, and I was like I said, it's not a meme. I was much bigger than other kids at the time, and we'd play a game where, did you guys ever do where you like stand in a big field? Our backyard was very large, and you grab someone by the wrists and you start spinning, kind of like when Mario throws Bowser. And it's a ton of fun because you don't let go like to try and hurt someone. The only time you would let go is if they like slip from your grasp, if you got going too quick. But like usually be like spin them around and like they're having a fun time, like they're on a fair ride, and you're having a fun time because you get to like lean back super far as you're holding them and pretend that you're Mario throwing Bowser off of that platform in Mario 64. And one time, this happened a few times, more than a couple times, it would get sweaty. And I would let go of the kid, and he would fly off. And very rarely did they get hurt. But one time specifically, it was a very small kid who didn't usually carpool with us, and he wanted to play too, not to be left out. And I was so determined to not let him go, to not ruin his experience of the first time, because I want return customers. This is fun for me. And I spun this kid so goddamn hard that one of his shoulders came out of socket. That like he was like started crying in the middle of the spin, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, this is the fun part. Like, this is when you have fun. Like all the my brothers and everybody else, like everybody's having a grand old time. Then he like got down and like like holding his elbow, went up to my mom, and I got yelled at.
That means Hummers are coming back. Get ready. Remember 2008?
I think Hummers went out more stylistically. than anything else.
No, they didn't.
It was the price of gas.
I remember when it happened. I remember it happening. I was working in Atlanta, and I remember the moment it happened when the Hummer went from a cool luxury item to a fool's errand. There was a razor thin line between, you see a guy in a Viper, and you're like, ooh, nice. But you see a guy in a Hummer, and you're like, dummy. Look at that dummy. Bet he's got a little cock, and he's a dummy. Because this thing's just bleeding your wallet dry every day for $5 a gallon, and it's getting like 8 miles per gallon. Those huge freaking engines, and they just had made them beefier and bigger and sport packages and off-road shit. And it started to go and look more like the actual H1. And then they're expanding to the H3. They're making the small one, and now like nobody's got a fucking Hummer. I haven't seen one in so long.
Neither have I.
You see them on the road though, like you see old Honda Civics, you see old Cadillacs and Buicks and stuff like that. You don't even see it. Where did they go?
The gas mileage doesn't improve with age.
It went the same way as parachute pants and stuff like that. You went from really hip one day to just what the fuck are you doing the next day?
Yeah.
Hummers were cool though, because they were expensive, right?
Were.
Like they're not talking about
And
H1s, like the cool ones. And yeah, like you said, Schwarzenegger had one, and I had a guy at Cisco that had one, and you'd see it, and you knew what was it, a $75,000 car?
Pretty expensive. Yeah.
In my head, like Kyle was saying, I just bundled it with all the other $70,000 cars. Like it was cool. Oh wow, like this guy. I'd look inside it, like I'd peek in the windows and like just to see like what it's like in there. And it only seated 4, if I recall correctly. But there was so much elbow room. Like you could have put 2 people in between the cars. Nearly.
It's made for bigger men than average men.
Or
it's
men with
made for
equipment.
the biggest of men.
Well, it's made for men wearing 80-pound combat packs, right?
Yeah.
Well, the H1 definitely is. Now, I've been in H1s before that don't have the doors and everything, and that's a cool fucking vehicle. That really
Isn't it?
That's its own thing.
I never thought the other ones were cool. Like the H3, I thought was
that's a pussy wagon.
Yeah,
no way.
Built on the Suburban frame. It's just a.
Is it? I thought it was on like a Dodge Neon chassis or something lame like that. It's not impressive at all.
I thought that the H1 was cool, and the same reason that like. If someone is one of those doomsday preppers and they show you like, here's my 60,000 rounds of ammunition for hunting the deer when everything's collapsed, and here's all my canned food and all my water. Like it's cool in that way of like, man, this guy's prepared for shit. Like this H1, when the grid goes down, this guy's gonna be driving over the center 2 lanes to escape the city. Like, but it's not cool as in picking up your kid from school.
Yeah, he can get from like Montana, Wyoming, then he runs out of gas and he's like, I don't know how to work a pump if like, credit card thing ain't working in the apocalypse, so I'm kind of screwed here.
I tried to siphon gas
in
like 2 weeks ago. Siphoning gas really sucks. Like
What did you siphon gas out of?
You siphon gas?
Yeah, well.
Not to steal it. He's doing some sort of farm activity, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I have a paramotor and I wanted to measure. The gas tank, like to look at it visually, didn't have like indications as to how much fuel there was. So the idea was to empty it, put in like 2 liters, mark it, 2 liters, mark it, etc. But you got to empty it first. And oh my God, it sucks so much to siphon that gas out. Nope.
Doesn't it have a like a plug you could take out, like by the fuel filter or something, and just drain it that way?
No. What I eventually did is disabled it and turned it up, like removed it from its little area where it belongs and held it upside down. But my plan A was just to siphon it. I had like some aquarium hose laying around or something, and I suck on it, and oh my, the fumes are awful. I don't know what I would do in a zombie situation.
Fumes? Were you inhaling?
How do you siphon gas?
All right,
you suck on it.
You suck with your mouth, not with your lungs.
I had to pull a lot more gas than that.
You draw upon it succulently.
You do it like a cigar, not a cigarette.
I'm sure there's a technique, but it was hard, and I knew that. I'm like, all right, like first I'm like just get like a mouthful and
a mouthful.
You were so close to being featured on the Darwin Awards of just
dude,
ready just. And
I'm still going on this.
A huge flood of gasoline immediately in your lungs.
So I took a mouthful.
What would the death be called?
And the gas did not even like exit the top of the tank. Like you couldn't tell that I had made any progress. And I had to suck this thing up like 18 inches before it'll like siphon, do what a siphon does and get lower than the gas. And so it's like, well, clearly just doing like the cigar thing, like I wasn't making any progress, and you couldn't even see what little progress I hypothetically made. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna take a deep like inhale on this tube and see how it goes. And my lungs were filled with gas vapor. It was a problem for like 30 minutes. I'm outside, like, trying to replace gas vapor, which you can't breathe. You know, my lungs are filled with something that humans have no use for. It wasn't like there was oxygen and stuff like working in there.
It's a very peculiar and terrifying feeling when your lungs are full of something that is not oxygen.
Right.
There's only one thing your lungs should be.
Calling the hospital. Well, I mean, look,
there's
I'm
a
not
whole bunch of
too
shit
much on you because nobody's a professional siphoner. Nobody's like, oh, I've siphoned over 300 times. Like, it's something you've done 4 times in your life. If you
do it a lot.
Yeah.
Did you consider calling the hospital at any point during the third? Because you know everybody has like an injury where it's like, hey, if this thing doesn't improve, and in your head you just have like a clock, and you're like, okay, I'm going to give this 7 minutes to stop bleeding, or else I'm calling a hospital. Did you consider calling a hospital or a paramedic at any time during that half hour?
It was more like a doctor. Like I'm like, how permanent is this damage? Because it was only like 60 seconds or so before my lungs are working right if I don't breathe deeply. Like it's like, all right, so I'm more or less getting oxygen into my red blood cells, but nope, not 100% yet. You know, like how much
siphon anymore?
How much have I fucked up my lungs?
Wrong. But there definitely is a technique for it, and like there are people who are better at it than I am, and I've seen them do it, and it's just.
I've done it on jet skis.
If you take a funnel and you stick it in there, and then you get a plunger and you plunge the funnel. I just made that up right now, but it'll probably work, right?
Doubt it.
No, because you lose the suction every time you. And you have to keep a constant suction, or the gas is just going to return to the bottom of the hose.
Not if you have one of those gigantic plungers, like when you go to someone's house and you see the normal plunger.
So big and a funnel so big that in one, you got all that volume to come down the hose. You'd have to do it in one pump. If it takes 2 pumps, then between pumps, the gasoline will return to the bottom of the hose.
Let me put this out there. Imagine a straw that's 24 inches long. Like that's about how much you have to move it before you can do the rest. And if it were a car, it'd be like 4 feet long. Like it'd be at the bottom of a gas tank. Just to suck through like a crazy straw might be 2 sucks. You know, to do.
Well, I put my thumb on the end between sucks. Like if I or you lose it. But to try to do, I think maybe you tried to do it all at once, and that is a task. You know, that's a bridge too far, as they say. That's hard to do.
Yeah,
but you sort of suck, and pinch it off, or put your thumb on it, and then go some more. Because once it comes over the top, and starts flowing down, you're good.
Right. I've done it with the jet ski, but I was just really unsuccessful with the paramotor. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I'm glad you didn't asphyxiate on gasoline. That would have been the most horrible way to die, paramotoring.
Yeah, right? Of all the ways to die from a paramotor, to sucking fuel.
Yeah, Taylor, I think I've got one of these. It doubles as a penis enlargement tool. That power plunger you've got there.
That's where my mind's going as well. It's like, well, if you can suck gasoline out of a Hummer, maybe it can provide some sort of personal benefit. Mm-hmm. I was also thinking, if like for some reason we don't have this technology, and I think part of it is just pride, where I'm sure that a lot of people who are siphoning gas could find something technological to help them with it. But I think part of it is just a pride thing. Like, no, I'm just going to use my mouth. You know,
like I wanted to do I wanted to do it the redneck way, because I know I've had fish tanks, and there's all sorts of different tools to help you like drain water from a fish tank. I know these things exist. I think I saw a pump at like a AutoZone or something like that that's for this, but all I had was some aquarium tubing and Ingenuity, and I thought I'd get it done. But it turns out I only had aquarium tubing.
Yeah, the Ingenuity was woefully underprovided.
Yeah, I thought I had that, but it wasn't there.
I bet you the most people died siphoning gas. I remember my dad telling me a story. He didn't. I think he tried to siphon gas one time, but it was for like a noble cause. But a lot of people were siphoning gas during the gas crisis when Jimmy Carter was president, and you could only get gas on like a certain number of days. So people just go around to cars and just siphon gas out of it because that was easier than having to wait for the right day to go get gas.
They would steal from other cars, you're saying? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Because otherwise, if you're on like an odd number day, or you can only get gas on a Monday, then not only are you going to have to make sure you have enough gas to get to Monday, then you have to wait in line with all the other Monday gassers for like an hour. So if you know how to siphon gas, just steal the other people's gas.
That's the way some people handle things. Yeah, just steal from others. But yeah, that's a skill that I've never practiced. but based on watching like Home Alone, it can't be that hard.
No, Kevin McAllister knows how to siphon some gas. That kid.
I just remembered how my dad siphons gas.
Go on.
This is the fucking trick
right?
right here. No. Well, he kind of does, but it's not a tool made for this. So what you do, and it doesn't matter what you're getting the gas out of, whether it's a car or a gas can, you put your tube down into the container, take a rag or something, and get an airtight seal around the tube and the container's mouth, okay? It doesn't have to be like a vacuum, but it needs to keep most of the pressure. Then you take an air hose, like a air tool that sprays. You insert pressure into the container, instantly siphons itself.
I had another idea that might work. So, and Kyle, by the way, that sounds like it would totally work. That's a great idea. Here's mine. I didn't think of it at the time. What if you put a lot of tube into the gas, right? So now, like, it's all filled up through the top. You put your thumb on it, and then you pull it out. And you should be pulling out tube with gas in it to where it might siphon. Right? So you just sort of sink, I'll call it 3 feet worth of tube in the gas, let it all fill up. Hopefully that works. You put it in right. And then you could just pull out with your thumb on it and let it drain.
I see exactly what you're saying here. I'm wondering if the viscosity of gasoline differs enough from water to make that a problem. But I like the idea a lot, and I think it would work. Yeah, they need to be out there fucking building shit and like learning math. Like I feel like I would love to see that experiment in some sort of charter school or something, where like some private school where like, you know, for math, let's have them do construction projects. There's tons of math in construction. You get out a measuring tape. I mean, you want to talk about learning fractions? You know, some people struggle with learning fractions. You get out that measuring tape, you're gonna learn fast. I mean, it's one big fraction.
Yeah.
And if you mess
really
up,
should have more stuff
and when
like
you
that.
get the wrong answer, you don't have to go to a teacher to find out. You're like, no, that was wrong. That is definitely wrong. Let's go back to the drawing board and cut again.
That'd be cool. And over like a couple, I don't know, 15 years later, the recess is just littered with tree houses everywhere. It looks like a Brazilian slum.
Yeah,
Or what we did like at my high school is like all the projects that we would create in our welding, automotive, and wood shop classes, and we made big projects. We would build like very long cattle trailers, the kind you would see going down the road pulled behind a fifth wheel truck full of cows. We'd build those from scratch with just steel stock. You know, we cutting the steel to length, welding it together. We'd build gazebos. I'm sure we all know what that is, like a backyard little hangout spot. And auction those off. We built all that stuff and sell it, and then that funding went right back into our program. So like we had the best shit. We had the best welders. We had the best nail guns. We had the best saws. Like there was no like wanting for anything.
But like what you were saying of like the practicality of building helped you understand all that shit. Like you learned better because there was, number one, like a physical, tangible payoff that you have a vested interest in getting it, and then you're actually building it. Like you learn stuff better when you're doing it with your hands and like getting that muscle memory in a way.
Well, my dad always made me learn like around the household like skills like plumbing and basic electrical and carpentry, because like he's kind of got a self-reliance thing about him, and he wouldn't want to call somebody to come fucking fix a piece of 3/4 inch pipe that's cracked under his house. It's just like, come on, this is a 10-minute job that requires 3 different tools. Let's just learn how to do it. And I don't know. So I guess I learned a lot of things like that growing up that were probably somewhat educational. But by the time I was in high school, I knew my fractions, and I didn't, you know, I could operate the measuring tape anyway. There were guys who couldn't, though. There were plenty of guys that I remember in that construction class that you'd have to measure their fucking wood for them. And
thin people, like you've known thin people before. We all know that rail of a guy who's like, I just can't put on any weight. I had a friend who was 6'4", 140 pounds. 6'4", 140 pounds. He was a rail. And every time we talked, like when we saw each other intermittently, be like, hey, I thought you were going to start working out or something, man. Like, you're real thin. He's like, I just can't put any weight on, dude. And I hang out with him for a couple days, and it's like, yeah, no shit. Like in his head, he's like, God, I've been eating all day. Like we just finished eating, and now you want a snack? But in everybody else's head, it's like, dude, you ate half of your burger, you ate part of your chicken breast for dinner, and then as your big splurge snack, you had a regular size Snickers at 11:30. And in his head, he's like, oh, Snickers, like of course I'll get fat. And then the fat guy, on the other hand, is like, well, if I have 13 apples, it's still only, I don't know, 60 calories, so I'll just do that. Actually, I'll just grind them up. That'll make it easier. Add a little bit of sugar. I'm not a savage.
You know, candy apples are good, and I've got the
candy. I have a friend who actually couldn't put on weight. He had cystic fibrosis. And,
now that is a fucking excuse.
Now that's a different thing.
That's
right?
a disease.
Yeah.
So he,
you come to me and you're like, oh, I have muscle wasting disease. It's terrible. I'm like, oh shit, I understand.
Something about cystic fibrosis. There's like phlegm in your digestive system that stops your body from absorbing like other bodies do. And he had all these enviable doctor's orders, like, you know, you got to eat more steak. He's 16 years old. Like, do you like beer yet? You can drink a lot of beer if you want. And because he is like. It was a health hazard for him. He had to work hard to have any kind of body fat at all.
Yeah, beer probably makes a lot of sense for cystic fibrosis people because it's like drinking a sandwich.
Liquid bread. Yeah, baby. Yeah, that's the way to.
Bread.
So
I was if you want to gain and peanut butter, I think peanut butter. Like if I was trying to like actually gain weight, like fat, like I need like. You need me to be 40 pounds heavier in a couple months. I'd be on that peanut butter and jelly diet, man. That you doesn't get much better than that.
Peanut
it's
butter's one of my nemesises, man. Like so here's the thing. Like you take something healthy like celery or apples, and I eat them, and I don't find like. I was hungry beforehand, and I'm hungry afterwards. Apples are bullshit, right? But celery is bullshit. But you put some peanut butter on either one of those things, and it's delicious. It is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I'm not hungry anymore. A little celery and peanut butter, which is what I had before the show, like to make it to dinner. That shit is awesome. But I think I might be violating the point of the celery when I put peanut butter on it.
No, definitely not. That's the whole point of the celery.
Peanut butter's good for you.
It's just a shovel for peanut butter.
It's just a peanut butter shovel, and you get all the fiber from the celery. Right?
There's a lot of protein in peanut butter. There's good fat in there. You just don't want to eat too much of it. Like a tablespoon of peanut butter a day might be a doctor's order. You know, like I love peanut butter. I feel I love peanut butter. I could eat it with Joey Tribbiani on the TV show Friends, which I despise. He was like, you ever have peanut butter fingers? And they're like, what's that? He goes, peanut butter fingers. He just dips his fingers in the can and just eats it right off his fingers.
I use a spoon.
Yeah, I've used a spoon. If I got some milk, I'll sit there with a spoon and eat that shit sometimes.
I've eaten embarrassing amounts of peanut butter straight from the container. Like other people eat ice cream. Yeah. I will sit and eat peanut butter if I didn't mind being a big fat fuck.
What kind? Because it matters. Creamy. I mean, what brand?
I switch around. There's a natural Jif that's good. There's at the Whole Foods some like
the no sugar
Dr.
added?
Whatever the fuck or some kind. It's like the all natural kind. I don't like that as much
because the oil
it gets
separated
like oil.
on top.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of oil on the top, and it's like I don't want an ordeal here. Just make this easy.
No, you want that oil because the presence of that oil means that they haven't put some fucking emulsifier in your food to keep it all together. That's a good sign. That's just like with cheese. Like you should never buy grated cheese, especially Parmesan. The law says that they can include like 15 or 20% cellulose in your Parmesan to keep it from sticking together. Does everyone here know what cellulose is?
Plastic?
Yeah, that's just
wood.
Okay. Wood fiber.
It's just a plant cell wall, isn't it?
They're putting wood chips in your fucking Parmesan to keep from sticking together, and the amount that they can put in varies greatly, and it's like olive oil as well. You're not getting legit olive oil unless you get really expensive olive oil. But grated cheese, all grated cheese that you buy in those bags, the reason it's not all stuck together, we've all probably grated cheese from a clump, from a brick. You'll notice that it sticks together, and if you squeeze it just a little, you could make a snowball
out of it if you wanted to.
You can make a snowball out of it. That doesn't happen in those bags of cheese. Do you know why? Because they coat them. They coat them. I don't think. No, I don't. In that case, I don't think it's cellulose.
I thought I had it. Fuck, man.
The cellulose, I believe, is specifically the wood pulp or whatever is specifically a Parmesan thing for whatever reason. I guess it just goes well with Italian food. But
you really yanked that football away from Charlie Brown Lucy style on that one. You know why? Like, I've been paying attention. This is the thing I know.
It was cellulose. Wrong. You're wrong. I'm not so sure on that anymore. You know.
Yeah, they coat it in some stuff. There's an added thing. They're spraying on those fucking cheese pieces that you're consuming. You know, you don't want that going in your body. I don't know what it is. This is coming from someone who consumes saccharin though. So
I have a peanut butter story. So I'm in like 4th grade, right? So I'm maybe
that poor dog.
9 years old. And we're going on a field trip. So everyone's super excited at school, right? Because anytime that you're not doing school is a good day, right? That's the ultimate in education.
Definitely.
And we're going to this place that manufactures peanut butter. So at first, like, we're all excited. Like fuck yeah, man. Like, I'm going to see where peanut butter comes from, right? And I'm picturing, like, peanuts getting crushed in giant bowls. And I don't know, just, like, magic and shit. And we get there and we find out, like, they're taking us on a tour of the factory. And during the whole tour, he keeps emphasizing that it was healthy peanut butter. And we're all getting a little skeptical of this fucking healthy peanut butter, right? Like, wait.
Yeah, methinks doth thou protest to it.
Yeah, you keep pimping the health aspect of your peanut butter. It's all making us think that it might suck. And so at the end of the field trip, we eat the peanut butter. And sure enough, it sucks. Like, it doesn't spread well. It doesn't taste good. Like, there's nothing good about it. But I was so jazzed about the fact that, like, I had just seen this peanut butter made that I had like a double dose. Like, I ate more than the other kids did because, you know, it's fucking. Did you guys just see it? Like, when they made this. This is the thing that we've been learning about all day. We get back to school, and I forget what happens. Like, a bench falls over or something like that. Like a nothing event. And I vomit everywhere, like for distance. I'm like power vomiting it. I must have went 8 feet before it touched the ground, and it spread far and wide. There was a cone of peanut butter vomit destruction, and all the teachers like just pissed. They're like, yeah, you probably got too excited about the bench falling over. Right, that was it, you fucking whore. Obviously, this is poison butter that you're feeding us, and that's my peanut butter story.
Yeah, it's this rancid fucking peanut butter you fed us from this organic, fancy, healthy factory that you just walked a whole 30 children through just now. How clean could it be around here? You just walked 30 children through your fucking
exactly
food plant.
Like one of those scenes in a movie where, like, as you guys were leaving and you're waving goodbye to the peanut butter man, he's like, "See you later, kids. Thanks for stopping by." And your bus disappears, and then the real peanut butter guy walks in and is like, "What are you doing in my peanut butter factory?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he just runs away. Like, you just got
Otis, get back in them bathrooms. There's shit all over the floor. And wash your hands. God damn. like, that's the guy ladling peanut butter to each child.
That does. Oh man, that sucks, because that would be, as a kid, like, that's like going to a brewery as a child, where it's like, this is a great, 87 nut butter, or whatever they would call it at this place. I saw that today on a Cliff Bar at that gas station. I was like, should I get this hot dog or should I get this Cliff Bar? And it said Cliff Bar filled with nut butter. And I was like, that's a horrible marketing phrase. So I bought the hot dog. Yeah, I love energy drinks. There's no way that 24 ounces of this can be good for you, especially because it's a 0 calories. Which means that there's something else in there fucking with you, right?
Yeah.
It's not the calories. You're not. There's no such thing as a free lunch, and that goes for all these 0-calorie beverages.
It's all that guarana and the taurine. That's what's supercharging you.
I don't know what those things are.
The B vitamin.
They're 2 of the main ingredients. Does that have guarana? Does that have guarana and taurine in it?
It's got a lot of shit in it. It's got some ginseng. It's got taurine in it. It's got water and salt. And I'm not going to read everything, but it's got
taurine,
a lot. And B
water,
vitamins.
and salt. You could make your own monster.
You could.
That's terrible.
I like coffee. I don't know why you don't go to coffee, because coffee like literally has proven health benefits. Like, it has.
How much caffeine is? Like, what's a milligram of?
I don't know it off the top of my head, but more than is in that energy drink if you drink 2 cups. Like, if you take a Keurig and put the smallest setting and do it twice, it makes like a full cup of coffee, and it's quite strong. I put like 4 sweeteners in it because I'm not afraid of cancer, and a little bit of cream, and that thing's got a shitload of caffeine, like more than a Red Bull, I would say. You got to drink a lot of Red Bull to equal a 2 cups of coffee. I think they're pretty similar.
Coffee's got. I was asking,
and I'm talking about like an 8-ounce, like single serving normal human being Red Bull, not the 24-ounce big boy that like clearly is enough to kill a small child.
Yeah, it's too much. It looks like a fuel cell from a futuristic movie.
But regardless of the caffeine content, like coffee has like health benefits, like believe it or not. It's one of those things that I always see in journals listed alongside things like red wine or like quinoa or something. It's like, oh yeah, 11 health benefits that come along from coffee. So yeah, I would switch to coffee if I were you. Do you have a Keurig?
I don't have one. No, I don't have one. Maybe I need to buy a Keurig.
They're like $80 and it's the best investment ever.
There's a whole forum of people talking about trebuchets.
Yeah, I'm into it too. I like that
My
stuff.
God.
I've been
wow.
You can build yourself pretty cool fucking trebuchet for a few $1,000s. And this is something that can throw a large rock or piece of steel or whatever a long way, Yeah. A person, yes, that would work too. So I have some interest in trebuchets. I've always thought that like that would be a cool project to build. Like, what if I had my own trebuchet? That'd be neat. Something that could lob, say, an engine block sized thing. What if you had something that could throw 500 pounds of iron and steel 300 yards? And it doesn't use gunpowder or propellant. It's ropes and wood and a counterweight. You make the counterweight with water. You could just have some containers, fill them up with water. Oh, we're going to move the trebuchet, drain the water out. Sure. You drain the water out. Now you just got a big piece of wood. You can wheel around. So you can have some fun with a trebuchet.
I actually watched a special. It must have been like 5 Thanksgivings ago.
Did he throw a piano in England?
Maybe they did it some
I've
point.
Seen
the
what
one
you're
I was
talking
thinking
about.
of, it was like the 10th annual pumpkin heaving.
Pumpkin chunkin'.
Pumpkin chunkin'. And they had like certain ones where it was just you rolled a pumpkin into this basically rail gun and then it just and it fires it out. Like
there
that,
are 3 classes.
Like, and then Jesus Christ. Okay, and then there was the trebuchet class, and then now what am I explaining it for? What are the 3 classes?
And so the 3 classes, you have the air cannons. They use compressed air, and these are the most powerful of the pumpkin chunkers. They have very long barrels, very big thing.
Are they
lots of
chunkers or chuckers?
Chunkers, pumpkin chunkin', so it rhymes. So it's those use compressed air, and they can shoot like a fucking mile, like 5,000 feet. I think. Then you have the trebuchets and catapults. These are machine operated. They use springs. They use wound rope. They use counterweights, that sort of thing. The catapults, trebuchets, things like that. And then the really cool outsiders, and there's only a handful, are the centrifugal machines. These things have a long arm that starts rotating slowly, but slowly picks up speed until you have this really long arm, and then they release at the perfect moment. Those machines are much more expensive, harder to use, and more dangerous. The real thing is that pumpkin chunkin' has been shut down for several years now. Maybe it's new. Maybe they fixed it this year or like recently. But what happened
Obama.
was it was close. Under Trump, maybe you wouldn't be able to sue the makers of the people who run the pumpkin chunkin' operation because you overturned your ATV checking out a pumpkin and hurt yourself. Because that's what happened. Somebody was going downrange on an ATV, as they do, to get the measurement, the distance traveled for the pumpkin. He wrecked, he hurt himself really badly, then he sued the people who put on pumpkin chunkin', and there's been no more pumpkin chunkin' for many years now. And it's a real shame, because when I was in high school, I was really into it. We had the Discovery Channel cassette, and we'd watch it in shop class, and we had plans to make our own, and it was a whole thing that never came to be.
Well, that sounds like not like the kind of hobby I'd want to get involved in, but that one that would be fun to pop in if a friend was involved in it.
Sure,
every once in a while.
In North Carolina, you can't sue someone if you hurt yourself doing recreational stuff on their land. Now, pumpkin chunking might be different because you might pay for access, and if you pay, then there's a higher expectation of the safety and taking care of. But if you go and play soccer on my land or something, and I'm not billing you for it, my right for keeping you safe is the same as my obligation to keep you safe is the same as mine of that of a trespasser. Provided I don't have fucking bear traps laying around in the yard, you could kill yourself and I'm fine.
It says here the lawsuit was filed in 2013. A volunteer spotter at the 2011 event He was on an all-terrain vehicle going through the field to help determine the distance. And what happened to him? He alleged that the
pumpkin.
Oh, that would be insane. Liable for serious spinal injury he suffered when the ATV he was riding flipped. He lost his job and had great difficulty walking after the incident, according to court documents. So this is a volunteer guy at the event, wrecked a four-wheeler while going to look for where the pumpkin landed, and he hurt himself and sued back in 2011, and they settled in 2013. I don't know what the current shape of the sport or event, whatever you want to call it, is. I see a Huffington Post thing here from 2016 that says 2 injured in horrific pumpkin accident at Pumpkin Chunkin Festival in Delaware.
How?
Yeah.
In this case, an air cannon called the Pumpkin Reaper exploded as it launched a pumpkin, with a trap door and other parts flying into the air, according to footage posted to YouTube. I'll look for that video. A 39-year-old woman who's not been named was struck by falling pieces in the head. It arcs down on the woman who's running away as it hits her. I got to find this video. And it looks like a 56-year-old man suffered non-life-threatening injuries. I'm looking for some video of like the shit going down. Pumpkin Chunkin exploded as it launched a pumpkin. Oh, the video's private, of course. Well,
you know, you're tampering my enthusiasm for being a pumpkin chucker.
I want to see somebody grievously injured with their pumpkin when Pumpkin Chunkin goes wrong.
Oh, that's a good video. I've seen what they do. Now, what I have seen is they take that big air cannon that shoots the pumpkins and level it and aim it right at a car. And then they shot the car in the door with the pumpkin, and it really fucked the car up. It put a big hole in it.
This just reminded me of the sweatiest guy I had gym class with, and it was a combination of him being the sweatiest person I've ever met to this day, and also the person who tried so hard at every single game in gym that like other people would be like, rounding the bases and kickball and, just jog and like talking to friends as you're walking who are on the other team. And he's the guy that's like right behind you who like caught up after his big home run. And he's like, come on, move, Taylor, go. We got to score these runs. And he's sweaty and freaking out. My left ring finger is still fucked up and bent on this like little last area, like the knot. It's all just like, it's like a knot. That knuckle's more of a knot than like it still bends, but not very well. And how it happened is this guy was on my fucking flag football team in gym my senior year of high school. And this guy, Matt, Indian dude, not that athletic, but he was running down the field on the other team. I went up behind him, grabbed his flag, kind of just held it around here because everybody already figured it out. And this guy who was on my team ran up to me, grabbed the flag out of my hand with such force and ferocity. It was like a monkey hand, like no gauge of strength. Clamped on, grabbed the flag and my finger, and yanked it back, and then like held it up in the air victoriously. Like if Kyle caught the winning touchdown catch, and I ran up to him and grabbed the ball and was like, aha! And held it up to show. And my finger made the loudest like popping noise. And it didn't even, I'm glad it didn't process at the time of like being a bad injury. I just kind of thought like, well, when something pops, you just give it a yank and it's all better. It repops and then the joint is correct. And so I kind of just yanked it really quick. And it didn't make like that you're supposed to hear when something pops back in. It made the sound of like, you remember those Sun Chip bags that would crinkle way too loud? It was like that. It was like those Sun Chip bags before they came to their senses, where it just again, they just made the loudest cracking, and it hurt so much. And I didn't go to a doctor because I thought it would heal fine, and now I still have a fucky right ring finger
that
doesn't
like
quite that way
because
that
Taylor was pretty athletic. Like you flag football tackled that guy and didn't even you're like, he wasn't that athletic. It was not a big accomplishment. Yet Jackass seemed to think that taking it out of your hand was a big accomplishment. That if he could fool everyone into thinking that he chased down Indian Bill or whatever his name was, that Dot or Feather?
Dot.
Chased down Indian Mahesh, that everyone would be so proud of him. But you were just like, no biggie.
Yeah, he took everything way too seriously, and he got way too much. He got a lot of shit for it. To the point that like this is the same dude that I still didn't get mad at him for it, didn't do anything to ever piss him off, because he was the guy that I was always extra nice to, because I'm like, I'm gonna get a call one of these days that says, Taylor, I see you in the parking lot. Today seems like a good time for hooky. and I'd be like, you know what? Loud and clear. I'm gonna hop back in my car and zoot on out of here. But that, of course, thankfully, that never ended up happening. But that was my contingency plan. If there was someone who was going to spaz out in my class, it was this guy, and I hedged my bets. But goddamn, I was pissed off at him, just being like, God damn it! Like if I wasn't so afraid you were going to come to school and goddamn shoot me, I would be so much madder at you for breaking my finger over this flag football in first hour. Which now I just have a sensitive, tender finger on my pencil the rest of the day. That's very uncomfortable. But anyway, yeah, it's very easy to feel athletic in a high school gym class, especially as a senior.
What did he actually do? He drank like 50 or 60 beers on a transcontinental flight from like New York to California, and then he went like 3 for 4 the next day against the Dodgers or something like that. Maybe 3 for 5.
Yeah, something like that, and that's why they were getting hammered on the Always Sunny. But the chicken thing, I don't know if you were joking about that, Kyle. That's true as well.
No, I know. They called him the Chicken Man.
Yeah, he's the Chicken Man.
Charlie told me that.
He did. I thought that was a joke.
Rest his soul, Ray Boggs.
I saw on slide 1.
He's not dead.
Yeah, God rest his soul.
He's living happily in his early 50s in Daytona. We're gonna break Boss Hogg's drinking records. It's Wade Boggs. Boss Hogg is the old redneck sheriff from the Duke Boys.
Kyle, you didn't talk about a coworker you hated.
I hated that guy who always had psoriasis and was shedding everywhere, named Uncle Bob. That was disgusting, and I felt like it was just like I never minded stinky food. I liked Chinese. My favorite lunch, like takeout thing to get delivered, was Chinese food. It was like Szechuan chicken, and we would all eat that stinky Szechuan chicken in the same room. So it was kind of a group thing. I don't know. So we would get Saturdays. We would have lunch catered, and it was always fried chicken. It was always fried chicken. It was Church's chicken maybe. And the black guys would always get up there early and get all the chicken, if I'm being quite honest. It sounds a little racist, but the boss would make sure that his like 3 or 4 or 5 managers got up there first, and they'd eat all the drumsticks. And that always annoyed me. There were never any drumsticks left for me. Nothing but thighs, and I don't care for that. Got to dig in there for the meat.
Thighs are
I don't
the
like
worst.
chicken on the bone. It's just not my thing.
Drumsticks are good, and the white meat is good. The thighs are not good. And Kyle's right. Chicken on the bone is a pain in the ass to eat, although drumsticks practically come on a carrying container, so they're better.
Yeah, drumsticks are better.
Yeah, thighs are one of the best piece. The only piece better than thigh, I think, is wing.
I never liked managers who seemed to like
I don't
say
think you
one
know your
thing.
chicken, Taylor.
Oh, fine. Sorry, Kyle. Back to you.
I felt like
we're getting
I didn't like my managers who would say they would teach us one thing, or they would say one thing in private, like when it's just us car guys. But then when there's a customer sitting there, it's like a different game plan. It's like
you never want a manager with a public and a private position on things.
That's how it was, and it was almost so that he could swoop in and be like, "Oh, you're doing that to him, Kyle? How could you? When you're dealing with manager Greg, you get the blue carpet special. Like, why could you do that to him?" It was almost like he wanted to like come in and close the deal by like cheating, and I didn't like that. Mostly, we were taught to be real hard asses and be kind of mean about things and just upfront really, and not bullshit around and waste time. And then they would come in and literally do that. I didn't like that. There's nothing in really. I had a coworker who was always trying to sell Amway or some shit. He was always trying to push phone cards or some kind of pyramid scheme in the business, like in the dealership. And we had a corporate office upstairs that like oversaw the whole Southeast division of Auto Nation, and he'd be up there like trying to like push his phone cards on people way above any of our pay grades who just happened to work in the same fucking building, and they fired his ass real quick for that. I was at that SWAT roundup thing, and they've got all kinds of like, some of the stuff borders upon spy gear, like James Bond type stuff. Like they've got this this dirt, right? This dirt. It's a bag of dirt, and you pour it out on a path. Now, if anyone steps in it, their footsteps will bioluminesce for a long period of time. So you can see if anyone walked through this entire area if you sprinkle this dirt out. And they had the thermal optic scopes. So I'm friends with one of the guys who owns the company that makes the thermal optics, and I'm hanging out with him at his booth, and we're just looking at all the booth babes, because you can see who's got fake tits and who's got real tits by looking at them through this thing.
What does it look like?
Yeah, what do you
looks
see?
Like it looks like a titty. Oh, it's dark if they've got fake tits, and it's lighter if they don't. And if you can see through basically one layer of clothing with this thing, it sees through one layer of clothing.
This device cost?
Take a guess.
And what is the model name of this device? There's so many.
Take a guess.
$55.
I'm gonna guess $5,500.
Just keep in mind that when he told me, I said nope. I don't think I can buy that.
$65.
And I just had bought a $20,000 buggy.
$55,000?
Your titty vision money. You could have lived the dream.
The cheap one was $15,000. The good one that we were using to look at titties was like $55,000.
Wow.
For this little handheld piece of technology. It's absurd.
I've got so many things.
Is it the kind of thing you could walk around with and people would know you were tit gazing, or would they be like, "Why is this guy walking around with night vision?"
You'd look a little weird, but it's not like a full like helmet night. It's a little thing, you know. You'd look weird though.
I think guns are going to change a bunch soon. I think tech is going to hit guns, right? For people who don't know anything about guns, the evolution, I would say, of guns and rifles and stuff over the last 100 years has been kind of slowish, right? You know, they shoot basically the same bullets and they're similar. It may be 100 years too long. Anyway, now I'm looking online. The scopes, like, it's not that weird to have Wi-Fi and live streaming built into it. Recording, you know, optics and cameras, you know, jammed into this stuff. I think there's some things that are everyday tech that's in your phone already that will start getting bundled into guns more interestingly. There was one that calculated ballistics and stuff from like 5 years ago. It ran on Linux, which I thought was fascinating. And it was really expensive. Kyle, do you remember the name of it?
Yeah, they're $20,000. I think it's the Tracking Point rifle.
I want to say it was 6 digits, the one I was looking at. And Ars Technica covered it, and it was like prohibitively expensive. And I bet now it's 5 digits or even 4. Kyle, yeah, Google it. But I just see guns and rifles and like ballistics calculators getting bundled into scopes instead of using tables and stuff like that. Like, it's got to be coming fast.
Yeah, it's I was when Dan Bilzerian bought 2 of these fucking things at the same time when I was with him at SHOT Show one year. Mm-hmm. They're the Tracking Point rifles. I'm pretty sure they're about $20,000 a piece.
Okay.
These are, as far as I know, they're the best ones. I don't know. I've never heard of what you're talking about. I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
I'm totally wrong. It's 17 grand. I even found the article on Ars Technica.
Yeah. And then it's like 17. Well, you don't want the pad that goes with it that lets you operate it, do you? Well, don't I need that? Oh yeah, you're gonna need that. Well, all right. Well, that's $2,200. And do you want the trigger? Or yes, I want the trigger. It's like by the time you get it, you got $20K in it. And I wanted to do a video with it, and I think the deal, I don't remember. We went back and forth a lot, but no matter what deal we worked out, I was like, I'm gonna have to have one of those rifles. And they're like, yeah, you could borrow one for as long as you need. I'm like, no.
You gotta have it.
I gotta have one of those rifles, and you're never ever gonna see it again.
Usually I ask for 2. I'm cutting you a deal.
Yeah.
Your dental cap. Where you're like, yeah, I'll bring it back. And you just fucking leave.
Funny thing, got destroyed in the making of the video. Well, I'll just send the parts back. No. Really
totally destroyed.
Yeah, fell out of a boat.
I burned it afterward to be safe, to make sure no one could have it.
Yeah, it was. Those things are really cool. It's basically like a video game because you aim at something, and then the scope does the ballistics for you. It sets itself to and then you're like, all right, well now all I have to do is put the dot on the target and squeeze, some information under tabs. You never know, and I'm oftentimes I'm a little bit trusting of situations like that, especially with presidents. Like I remember when Obama was like not talking about something with the Osama bin Laden raid or something, and lots of people were like, nah, he threw the body away, and I'm like, well, probably a good idea that they gave this guy a proper burial at sea so that we don't look like some people who are like, they're the ones who drag
not share the pictures. I think that might be what you're thinking of.
They didn't share the pictures, and then they buried him at sea. The body, Osama bin Laden, and people were complaining that they gave him this proper burial, and I just remember thinking like, well, the enemy are the ones who drag our bodies through streets and desecrate us. Like we don't have to stoop to their level every step of the way.
I heard it explained like this, that if the enemy saw what we did to that body. I heard he got canoed, like shot in the forehead after he was dead. It just sort of split it. And,
yeah, he shot him 2 or 3 times in the head. Yeah.
And they felt like if the enemy saw what Osama looked like dead, that it would be motivating for them. So they just got rid of that situation.
Have you ever heard the interview of the guy who shot Osama bin Laden on the Howard Stern show?
No. Was it interesting?
So that guy has written a book, and now he works, I think, helping veterans get jobs. Mm-hmm. And Stern is Stern, so he's like, "You're the guy who did it. You killed Osama bin Laden." And he'll just like, "Yeah, well, it was a team effort, this and that. I wouldn't have even been the one going through that door if, this and that hadn't happened, and et cetera, et cetera." But like Stern, like he wants to know what like assholes like us want to know, like what happened to his head? How many bullets in his head? Let me ask you this. Who put his head back together for the picture? And like, well, my buddy, he sort of pushed things back together so that we could, and he got the nitty gritty details that
Jesus.
Like this guy wasn't volunteering. He explained like the raid from beginning to end, and he really gave praise to that. If you've ever seen that movie like Zero Dark 30, I think maybe there's a redheaded actress who's the one the raid was her idea. She's the one who had like gotten the intel from some source, and she was the one pushing it through and making sure it happened. And he was like, her intel is what made this thing a success. She told us that the last line of defense is going to be Osama's son. He's going to be on the stairs, and he's going to have a rifle. And she told us what his name was. And so when we went around that banister, I whispered his name and then some words in Arabic, and he peeked out around the banister, and we blew him away, and then went up the stairs. It was really cool to hear that interview. I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Damn. Now I want to hear it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Pretty cool.
It's this guy being very matter of fact about like, and he talks about his training. He wasn't a Superman. He's not like he wasn't some gigantic human. He didn't know how to swim when he joined the Navy SEALs. He got like a collegiate swimmer to like train him how to swim for like the 2 or 3 months that led up to him going into the BUDS training program or whatever. I thought that was remarkable. You think that these guys, it's more about toughness and character, it seems, than anything.
Determination.